Bandwidth for all shows on the Aussie Tech Heads network is supplied by Aussie Tech Heads Web Hosting. For a fast, affordable and reliable Australian server with fantastic support, contact Aussie Tech Heads Web Hosting at aussietechheads.com.au. Aussie Tech Heads, Australia's best hosting service.
Put down your glasses. Yes, it's another week of Aussie Tech Heads. How is going? This week got another big week. Heaps of stories to get through. And also, each week, the Aussie Tech Heads is brought to you by the Aussie Tech Heads web hosting. And you can find them at athwebhosting.com.au. All servers are in Australia and they are nice and fast and well supported by the team at the athwebhosting.com.au. All right, let's jump straight into it and welcome Jace is back. Hey Jace, how you going? You had a good Easter?
Hey, good to see you again.
Holidays and all that sort of stuff. Yes.
Yeah, 3 weeks. I was going to have 2, but then HR sent an email around everybody in the company and said, well, there's only 3 days between each long weekend. Why don't you have those off as well? So I said to the boss, okay, I'm going to do that. And he's like, no, don't do it. Oh.
Too late.
I said, too late, man. Already done it. HR told me I had to do it. Not my fault.
I can't believe it's been 3 weeks. I texted you, I know, through the week saying, are you on this week? Has it really been 3 weeks? Geez, time goes fast,
yeah, it was
doesn't it?
2 so far, but I've still got this week off. The last 2 I was with my daughter on holidays, and this one I'm just at home. I'm trying to get my skills up for the move down south, as we've mentioned before. So
cool.
I'm learning all about Puppet and Nginx and all sorts of things, Ruby, all of these things.
All the good stuff, eh?
It's really good for deploying systems that when you've got to manage like hundreds of or thousands of servers.
Oh my God.
Do it all with this thing called Puppet from Puppet Labs. So
yeah,
getting the old Nokia going again hasn't been switched on for about 10 years. So
geez, that sounds complicated enough. But look, so welcome back, Jace. And we've got a special guest tonight. And I don't mind in saying it's the Aussie Tech Heads answer to Louis CK. It's Mark. Mark's come back for an episode. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Hey, how's everyone going?
Yeah, not too bad. Look at you, eh? New microphone. Well, in the 5 years since we last saw you.
Yes, the technology's improved a touch.
Oh, it has, hasn't it? It's great. It's great. What have you been up to for the last 5 or 6 years?
I've been working most of the time and also doing the Den, which is on iTunes, and that's kind of got 2 seasons. Season 1 has about 50 episodes, which was crazy. And season 2 has about maybe 10.
Yeah.
And season 3 is coming up.
Right. Now you probably have forgotten, but the Den can also be heard on AussieTechRadio.com.
And also on the Twitter feed as well, on Paperly.
Oh yes, you've got a paper out for the Den.
I do, but I must say, not too impressed. Like, I subscribed to it, paid the $99, but most of the stuff that comes through it, I like the Den page gets updated quite a bit.
Yes,
but none of the stories from the Den seem to come up, which was the whole point of getting a newspaper. It's all stuff from the New York Times, CNN, and anyway, don't get me started.
But it all runs from the Twitter accounts that you insert into the
did that. You might get one story every 6 months, and I'm getting emails now every day going, the Den is out. Yes. And I'm like, that's great. I want to read about other things, not from the Den, which defeats the purpose.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to hear about a paper that is up to date and does work properly, Aussie Tech Heads, that's the one. And you can find that at aussietechheads.com.au/paper. That's just where we live. All right. Well, let's get into some stories, eh? How about that? How do you like that? Well, yes. Okay, let's go for this one first. Microsoft silently. Now, this is a big one. I reckon this is pretty shocking. Microsoft silently alters user files on OneDrive. Can you believe that, Jace? Can you believe that? What's your comments on this sort of stuff? It's crazy.
What is it they're altering?
Right. Well, sorry, yes. Well, I'll tell you what's going on first. The
Are you going in and drawing mustaches on your grandma's photos or something? Is that it?
that's what they're doing. You
I would,
upload
I would expect that to be an extra add-on pay-for service from Microsoft.
A blogger named Sean Byrne in Ireland has found Microsoft appears to be silently modifying user data stored in OneDrive for business services by injecting uniquely identifiable code into some files. Now, this is tragedy. According to Burns' test, OneDrive adds UUIDs, which are universally unique identifiers, to HTML and PHP files. Microsoft Office files were also enlarged by about 8 kilobytes. Microsoft Office files had what appears to be uniquely identifiable code added, potentially making it possible to match them to a company and possible even to a specific user's account, Byrne wrote. So this is no good, because this is actually, they're inserting stuff into your actual code that you're writing, say in a PHP or HTML file.
I hate it when someone does that.
Microsoft did all of this with Office back in the day. I think it was like 97 or something they started doing this, and everybody was up in arms about it, and they hammered on Microsoft and told them how much they sucked, and then they learned about it and they issued a patch which took all the identifying stuff out of it, and now they've just gone back to where they were before.
But
maybe they got to like some kind of syndrome going on where they actually starting to like people hating them, because the decisions they come up with this kind of stuff. You got to think seriously. If it's happened before, you had a massive backlash, you fixed it. Now you're doing it again with the new technology.
Yeah,
somebody's not thinking.
Well,
sadomasochists.
Yeah. So I'd imagine, like without being this guy Sean Burns, whatever his name is, so I can imagine that, say, Microsoft may have stopped injecting this code into Office documents that sit on your desktop. But if you upload a file, like say a PowerPoint document, to the cloud, to the OneDrive, privately owned, probably paid for OneDrive, well, you would expect that you're not going to get code injection into your file. Like, you would expect
That's
that
right.
you
Yeah.
come
And
back.
the other thing is, if it's like a shared out folder on the OneDrive that many people are using, you're going to see who's put what where all the time. Whether that's a good thing, depending on your situation, I guess, is the thing. But does it stay there once you download the file, or is it only on the hosted location? Then when you download it, it's gone.
No, because he said that Byrne ran into a syncing issue with some files on OneDrive, so it's created syncing issues, and decided to check if they were damaged by running a message digest algorithm checksum utility on them to see if the data stored in the cloud was the same as what he had locally. To Byrne's surprise, the checksums for most of the files did not match, and become concerned they were being corrupted. So further testing.
Sounds like they're creating their own sync problems there by changing the files, and their version checker's going to go, does this look the same? No, these two are different. What do I do now? I don't know. Apple's used to have a lot of trouble with file syncing in the day as well. But sounds like Microsoft are creating their own problems.
If they can do this type of thing where it takes a person, like someone, a whistleblower, to come out and tell that. Imagine what they'll be able to do in the future with regards to, putting incriminating evidence on people's computers, that type of stuff, that they want to actually, deface them to the public.
Well, that's what the people are concerned about with this particular story, is that, sometimes these documents are held, as you would imagine and would think, securely, privately in the cloud. You would expect them to be untouched, because what happens if you need to refer to them in a case of law? Or something like that.
Exactly. And worse than that is, if the files are being corrupted, what's the chances of the files actually being unreadable?
Well, yeah. Well,
if this stuff comes through, it's like.
And then,
not to mention that, if Microsoft can do it, then any 13-year-old with a coding background could probably do it as well. Because at the end of the day, the security can't be that good if they're having, complete access to your files. Like, that would make me rather nervous. But then again, I'm running on Macintosh, and they just did a massive update, as in like a vulnerabilities thing, which I think is one of the stories in the newsfeed.
That is. We'll get to that. Well, you can take that story if you like. We'll do that one soonish. But
I'll take it and I'll run with it.
All right. Yeah, but just to finish off with this one, apparently it appears to be only with commercial OneDrive files, and the consumer OneDrive seems to be okay. obviously consumers aren't that important, and Microsoft just wants to inject inject code into the commercial people's stuff. But yeah, it's pretty frustrating and pretty. Well, this is hot on the heels of the searching through private emails of someone to find out where a leak came from within their organisation. Like this is, no good. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a backlash against that one as well. And what do you use, Mark? You wouldn't be a OneDrive user, I guess. I'm
Apple? Confused now because like I registered with Dropbox, as in like signed up with them, and I haven't even had time to go through it and put my precious files on their server. I'm also with iCloud and iTunes Match, which again I think is only like 3 gig, and I don't know. It's so hard because like Google Drive is the other one, but then when you look at Google, it's almost like it's the swastika of the internet with regards to the Nazis took over Poland and France and just usurped all these countries. Just seeing Google usurping all these major programs, like you're starting to see that happen with the major companies where they're actually buying up smaller groups.
Yes,
like Google. Let's face it, it owns Gmail, which is obviously the biggest email server on the planet, and then you've also got YouTube and whatever else they've actually kind of like acquired in that time. But they are very much as far as spying on us, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But then the thing is, are you really that interesting that people are really going to give a shit about what you send? Like some of the emails I get from friends, I don't think anyone would really be interested in reading them.
No,
they're either really,
But I think the difference,
especially some of the stuff you send me.
Yeah, I think the difference with the girl chundering, that sort of one. Now the difference between the what Google does. Google just does it as an algorithm to serve ads to your screen, and like there's no human eyes on your emails. But just recently, Microsoft has physically eyeballed people's emails just because they had an internal leak going on. So they've eyeballed people's hotmails. But anyway, enough of that. And
before we go any further with that, I was going to say, you would think with today, how long has YouTube been around since? 2004?
Oh, yeah, something like that, I suppose.
Yeah, around that. So you're looking at 10 years of being in existence. You would think, because like I was searching for some cars online, just doing some reviews and all that kind of stuff, and it blew me away to a degree because like I typed in the car name, obviously, in the model number, and then the advertisements were all car related. That should be across the board, you know what I mean? But I guess the problem is when you start looking at UFO videos and that, what do you advertise when you're searching for UFO videos?
Oh, tinfoil
obviously
hats.
Star Trek Next Generation DVD collection.
Yeah, true.
What's that mean?
Tinfoil hats.
I suppose, Doctor Who season 7
coming out.
Yeah,
now you're talking. All right. Good stuff.
Speaking of Doctor Who.
Oh, very
nice.
Bloody thing's fading though. It's not great quality for some reason.
Spewing. How old is it?
A few months.
Oh, where was it purchased from? Which
Doctor Who show in Melbourne, I think.
All right. It's probably manufactured in Southeast Asia or China.
Yeah, my daughter's got a shirt from about the same time, and hers is fine. Looks really great. Mine just looks terrible.
It might have been made in 1902. Who knows? All right. Now, I keep losing my friggin' mouse.
It's on your desk, under your hand.
All right. So Jace, what sort of... if I throw to you, will you pick a story out? Or do you want me to...
Yeah, I've got a bunch opened here.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so we'll do a Jace story.
Go with the funny one?
Yeah, do a story from you, and then Mark, you can pick up on with the OSX updates if you like, and give us some.
Sweet.
Cool. All right. So we'll do. Welcome back. As I mentioned before, AussieTechRadio.com. Go there if you want all these funky little shows on there. There's us, there's the Aussie Mac Zone, Two Guys Talking Tech, there's a Joomla Beat podcast, there's stacks of stuff there. Just if you want to know all instructions, AussieTechRadio.com. It's a shoutcast 24/7. Come and join it. New shows every Friday. All right, so jump in on there. Jace, what have you found this week? In your week of leisure?
Well, there was unfortunately the New York police made a big blunder trying to get some PR for the police, and they sent out a tweet on Twitter Do you have a photo with a member of the New York Police Department? Tweet us and tag it with my NYPD. It may be featured in our Facebook. Instead of having happy, smiling photos of people getting hugs from the police or whatever they're hoping for, or police cuddling kittens, they ended up with all these pictures of police bashing people up and all the police brutality, police there with their batons smashing people over their head, manhandling an 84-year-old man because he was jaywalking and dragging him around, other police calling out brutality and stuff like this. And Twitter just flooded into a big PR disaster for the police. I mean, somebody there must have seen this was going to happen, surely.
You'd think, wouldn't you? They must have been like going, do you reckon people just post happy photos?
Yeah, of getting kittens out of trees.
Americans love their police departments over there. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Clearly, there was no stipulation. Please, all non-violent photos, preferably. They'll probably have a disclaimer on the next round.
Yeah.
They said Qantas infamously endured a PR disaster in 2011 after its hashtag Qantas luxury campaign prompted a glut of withering comments about grounded flights and engines catching fire.
It can be a powerful weapon if it's misused, Twitter.
Well, that's right.
And nobody is going to post something nice like that. I mean, if you're a group that people really don't like that much, then they're going to post something bad about you. If it's somebody that people really love, then they're going to post good stuff. But you can't change your image like that.
The amount of truth activists on Twitter, putting that out was just like shooting fish in a bucket. It was like, send us a photo of the constabulary. It's like, no, we don't want that one. We don't want no blood in the shots, please.
No. Now, so moving on to something different, Mark, what sort of machinery are you running up there these days? Have you moved on since the G5 Power Mac?
Yes, actually, I have recently upgraded to a new iMac 27-inch to replace for the office. Basically, it's the one that does all the hard yards.
Oh, right. Nice. And so what the hard yards, as in you're still editing videos, audios, obviously with the Den?
All of the above, and venturing into new things as well, songwriting, that type of stuff. So yeah, so it's pretty much going to be a workstation, and I've built it up that way. Like it's had a few dollars spent on it, but it's all tax deductible, which is fantastic.
That's nice, isn't it? Now you haven't faltered. You've been Mac. You've never gone back once you went Mac.
No, well, I recently upgraded a Samsung laptop. And I actually rang you during that process, and it was a 2011 Samsung with 2 gig of RAM and maybe a 300 gig standard hard drive. So I upgraded it to a 240 gig SSD drive and 8 gig of RAM. And the problem was that the 240 came from a Mac computer because I upgraded the laptops to 1 terabyte.
Yep.
And there was no way for me to actually format it on Windows. And I ran it on a desktop as well as the laptop and did a whole range of things, and it just wouldn't let me do it. So I ended up having to take the back off the MacBook, the 13-inch MacBook, throw it in that, which was a pain in the ass, put it in, connect it as an external hard drive, and then reformat it to MS-DOS.
Yeah, right.
And then it worked. But what a pain in the ass.
Oh, look, it can be a pain, but don't go blaming Windows. It should never have been formatted Mac in the first place. So that's the problem. Now, you've had some updates to your little Mac this week. What's happened? They've brought out some updates.
In going through the show notes that you sent me, I discovered that there was let me just pull it up, a Mac OS X update. Apple has released a security update for Mac users running its Mountain Lion, Mavericks, and Lion server operating systems on Tuesday, US time. The update addressed 13 OS X vulnerabilities in total, including numerous bugs that could allow arbitrary code execution. Now, I didn't know about this until I saw it on the show notes, and I only discovered that out of the 4 Macs that I have running, only one of them had been updated. So I went about updating all of them. So now the thing is, you look at that and you think, oh, God bless them, they're helping us. Yes. They're making it so it's less vulnerable to attacks. But then you think to yourself, lately, with regards to certain updates on computers, it's just been a nightmare with incompatibilities and don't get me started.
The biggest, I don't know if you've been following it, probably you don't, but like the biggest crazy thing that we spoke about recently was the Windows 8.1 Update 1. That's the name of it. So it's 8.1. That's the name of it. That's the version of Windows, but now there's an update
that's
one.
like the epitome of laziness. That is.
Yeah.
It's like we'll just add an extra one on the end.
And if you don't update to update 1, then you're not going to be
Point one.
Yes, you're not going to be. Yes, 8.1 update 1. That's what it's called. They're not going to send you any more security patches for 8.1. You've got to be updated to update 1. So there's something.
I don't know. That sounds that to me, especially when you see it happen on 2 different platforms, it could be a good thing, or it could be some kind of nasty shit that they're putting into the computer so they can even access it more.
Well, I don't know. I just think there's something obviously going on with Windows 8.1 that they just want to turn their back on or something, like they just don't want to deal with something or other. But anyway, that's we spoke about that the other week, so that's all good.
We're in the lounge. Sorry, lounge.
Yeah. Hang on.
If there's any kids in the lounge, I apologize.
Might upset Milo. That's about it.
Sorry, Milo.
Hang on. Shush.
I didn't mean to drop the F-bomb. Oh, hello. We're back to this. Oh, Hollywood.
Yeah, only because I had to start the recording, and for some reason, VidBlaster stops recording in the middle of everything.
I'm going to get me one of them. Where do you get those from?
Oh, I don't know.
eBay?
Yes, eBay, that one. Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's
you
good.
can get one for your iPad.
They don't need to be that big, though. Like, all you need is like a little one about that size.
Yeah, PA gave me a little one, but the little lug in it broke off. I wasn't clapping it that hard.
Made in China.
I just clap my hands. It's a bit cheaper.
I heard a funny story today with regards to Chinese manufacturing, and I'm not having to go against China because at the end of the day, they win. But have we heard of the Cherry? It's a car. And the car manufacturer, like you got Hyundai and you got Kia, they're called Cherry. And this is true. The roof racks on the Cherry SUV are purely for cosmetic reasons. They don't support any major load.
Yeah, right.
So, like, you get this car, it's like, oh, thanks, mum and dad. It's got roof racks. Excellent. Put a surfboard on it, and it just snaps like like cotton candy. Not cotton candy. What's that? Toffee. Like toffee.
Yeah.
He said, God help anyone who's in a car accident in a Cherry.
All right, let's
will pop.
Let's come back because this VidBlaster's probably only got another 20 minutes.
Is that what you're saying?
I think that'll be like the catchphrase from now on.
Pop that cherry.
Cherry busted.
Yeah, pop it. Now, okay. Now, you can catch us on facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads with all the meanderings of conversation that we carry on with. There's conversations, there's apps, Android apps and Apple iOS apps free for the day. So normally we put them up there because not that we particularly, looking for an app of the day.
You call those giveaways. Plenty of giveaways.
Yes.
None of this free app stuff.
But they are free because normally you pay for them, you see. But on that day...
Well, that's what I'm saying. So therefore, you're giving them exclusive giveaways because they would have had to go looking for them, but you're just giving them the links. You're providing them links to juicy bits of giveaway.
Well, yes, essentially, that's what's happening. So if you want some of those giveaways, then you go to the facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads, all right? Cool. Now, look, let me carry on with a story. Let me find one that I think is going to...
Can I just interlude 1 second because you'll agree, you'll understand where I'm coming from this.
Yep.
Okay. iTunes. Who uses iTunes at all?
Me.
Anyone on the panel? Yes.
As little as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I purchased Faulty Towers, Blackadder, like all the classics. They were like that, a comedy special thing, the young ones, all of those. The quality of it, probably a little bit better than what we're watching now. It was like someone took the Betamax recording and just copied it to a file, you know what I mean? Like they're really grainy and stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, oh, well, that must be just those because they're old TV shows. But then I did some recent ones as well, and they were still kind of like bad VHS quality. Yeah. And then with the music side of things, being a DJ that I am, I purchase quite a lot of music on iTunes. And one of the albums that I purchased, which was Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill Acoustic. So she recorded the whole album again, but did it acoustically.
Right.
And the first track plays for 6 seconds and then stops, goes to the next track.
That's no good. What stops you from paying for Spotify and then just using Spotify playlists at the nightclub?
Internet connection, reliable internet connection.
Right, can't
you can download them if you've got an account.
Yes, offline.
Yeah, I'm doing that on iTunes.
No, but on the Spotify. Then you wouldn't have to buy them, and then wouldn't have to worry about DRM problems.
That's there's a program on my computer. Sorry, the virtual DJ program that I use is the professional version, and for $10 a month, you have access to like 8 million songs streaming.
Right.
So you can search their library, and at the moment, I can search it if I have an internet connection, but I just don't have a reliable internet connection at work.
Like you're in the middle of Surface.
If I did, it would be a different world.
Doesn't Surface?
I could run the world if there was an internet connection. The amount of hours I spend in front of the freaking computers at work.
Doesn't Surface have NBN, or isn't it close by, or coming soon, or something? Up there in Surface.
Don't even go there. Seriously, it's a sitcom in itself. I'm trying to get internet for DJs, which is important for doing stuff. You know
couldn't you get the free Wi-Fi as the tram passes? Every 10 minutes.
Quick, download it now.
Just give me a sec. I'm just downloading it. Can you slow down?
Yeah, go and throw yourself in front of the tram. I've nearly got this song.
One of you guys that are really inebriated with the special protective halo, jump in front of that train.
Yes, that's right.
Seriously, the amount of times I've witnessed people, I can only put this down to a miracle. Maybe it's religious, I don't know, but when people slip over from alcoholic consumption.
Yes.
Carrying a pint of beer or a wine glass, which is 3/4 full.
Yeah,
they can go over on their ass, laughing the entire time, and not spill a drop.
Yes, I know. Very true. Very true.
That's that. I've seen that firsthand on many occasions,
it's like
and it still blows me away.
The body's equilibrium is automatically and immediately transferred to ensure that glass does not tip.
They could literally break a wrist, and the contents of the beer will still be in place, not one drop spilled.
They could break a coccyx, and
they got priorities.
That's right. That's right.
Just letting you know, there's someone has entered the venue on this side of the Pacific.
Okay.
And so just forgive any kind of if you hear any noises or whatever, that's just
the
professor from the den.
Good old professor. All right, Jace, have you got anything else that you want to talk about this week?
Yeah, sure. Nobody said that we're not a nation of whingers, but something new and better comes out and everybody gets really up in arms about it. Of course, everybody's heard about Uber now, that lets normal people who drive cars around can essentially become taxi drivers. Well, Uber in Australia has been using taxis and other hire cars, but now it's moved into allowing general public people to drive around in their car and pick up and drop off people at a discounted rate. And the taxi council and the taxis are all up in arms about it. They said they're going to warn the passengers about the risks of using the service.
Right.
They want to use this low cost service. The people are not vetted for their history or anything like this, so we don't know what kind of people they are. They might kidnap you or something like this. We're going to come up with all the really bad risks that we could think of, just to make sure that people are not going to try and go with this Uber service.
So is this something, would you jump into an Uber cab or Uber car?
I don't know. I had the opportunity in Melbourne. I'd thought about it, but I had my daughter at the time, and since, as I've said, you don't know who you're going in with. No. But in the middle of the day, maybe it's all right. In the US, they're huge. Everybody uses Uber all the time. The only thing you hear about complaints over there is people, when the Uber prices go up for New Year's and Christmas and stuff. Oh my God, the price has tripled. Yeah, well, supply and demand, that happens everywhere. But I don't know about myself. I don't know if I'd be comfortable in hopping in a car with just anybody.
No, it's a bit crazy. I think one of the, I wouldn't say scariest, but surprising things that happened to me once. I was just sitting in the road at the traffic lights, And someone hopped in.
I love it. Sitting in the road.
Yeah. Well, sitting,
on
you
the
know,
road,
sitting at
bored, having a sandwich.
Yeah, just killing time. And yeah, someone hopped in. And he just opened the door and hopped in and sat down and said, "You going to Coolangatta?" And I went, "I guess I am." And so, I took him to Cooley.
That's actually a very ballsy way to hitchhike. You don't even ask. You don't stick your thumb out, just climb into a random car.
I know.
When I was a kid, I was supposed to be going to a youth group meeting or whatever the hell it was at the time, and a friend of mine was picking me up, and I knew what his car looked like, so I was there. It was nighttime. Started thinking, "Oh, he's not coming," so I started walking to the place I was going to, and his car slowly drove past. So I went, "Hey!" Yelled out his name, climbed in the back seat, and there was a kid sitting next to me, another kid sitting next to that one, and a grandmother and a woman in the driver's seat. And they're like going, "Who are you?"
What the hell are you doing in our car?
And yeah, that's probably one of the most embarrassing moments of my life.
Now,
my mum did something similar when we were young. She was having a screaming match with my sister who was sitting in the back. I was in the back with her, and my mum's in the front, and they're yelling, "Look, I'm going to turn this car around, right? I'm sick of you kids." And she pulls the car over, and I'm trying to say, don't stop. There's a hitchhiker like 50 meters back that way, and he sees you stopped. He's going to hop in. No, you shut up. I'm telling your sister off. Okay, I'll shut up. And this guy opens the door. Oh, hi, thank. He's like, no, don't hop in. I wasn't stopping for you. And he's like, oh, sorry.
Oh.
And he runs.
Well, he was probably all right. But
yeah, I was like, don't stop here. There's a guy. Now you shut up. I'm telling your sister off. Okay, fine. I'll just shut
Mind
up.
you, the hitchhiker would be a bit annoyed. You know what I mean? The car's pulled over. You think, oh, they're stopping for me.
Well, you could have just said to me, mate, I've just done you a favour. You're 50 metres closer to your destination. So, you know, it's win-win. You know,
the Nobel Peace Prize goes to Glenn Goodman of Aussie Tech Head.
Now, because you're a Gold Coaster, Mark. Now, I don't know if people remember. I'm not sure they believe me when I tell them that when we were younger, and I'm not sure if this happened to you or you were actually involved in it or whatever, but you used to get stopped on the side of the road or pulled over, yelled at as you were driving. Pulled over because the guy pulls you over because he says, "I've got a truck full of speakers and stereos in the back. You want to buy some?" Did that ever happen to you?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
The ones that I can remember are the windscreen wipers.
Well, I don't remember those ones. Well, they had,
as in the guy, and also newsies as well. I used to be a newspaper salesman back when I was like 14 years old, and I would literally not sit in the traffic, but I would stand in the traffic. And when the lights went red, there were certain intersections that we'd actually fight and kill for. Yes. So I'd kill other boys in order to get this piece of real estate. And you used to just walk out to the cars and people would hand you money and you'd throw the paper at them and all that kind of stuff. But one day I was coming off, as in like the light went green and I was stepping off and a car ran over the back of my foot.
Oh, nasty. Did it hurt?
Have you ever run your foot down a step when you're climbing downstairs and you scrape the back of your foot?
Yes.
Yeah, think of a car doing that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, nasty. Nasty. Are you all right now?
Yeah, I've got a limp, but hey, it's all good.
That's all good. All right, so we'll keep going straight away because this vidblog, I don't want it to stop again. So save. Back to Mark, back to me. All right, now, Mark, free OSX beta. Are you involved?
Yes, this is where we were going earlier, where it was backing up, not being able to use Time Machine, or not necessarily not using it, but just not relying on it, not trusting it. It's just a bit kind of scary. And I stumbled across this beta seed testing gang from, again, Aussie Tech Heads. God, I don't know how people can live without Aussie Tech Heads. Seriously, like the amount of information you get from it for free.
I know, it's great, isn't it?
So I was checking it out, and I went to the link, followed the link. And it was all exciting. I'm like, yes, what they're doing is they're saying that we will give you, and this is where it gets really funny, because everyone was all jumping for joy when they said, we're going to give you Mavericks. Guess how much? Remember that when he did the thing and it was like the little price was going to come down? It was like, free. We're giving it to you for free. And everyone, including me, were like, oh, that's amazing, because it's normally $150 like Windows. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. Free, but we're beta testers now.
Yes.
That's ultimately what we are, because they didn't sell a full version. They actually gave a free beta version of Mavericks to everyone, and we became the beta testers. Smart dudes, very smart. But what I discovered was, and by the way, has anyone seen the comedy show Silicon Valley?
No.
It's there's 3 episodes out. Highly recommend it. Sitcom about Silicon Valley, and it's got like MySpace and all that kind of stuff all there. It's very funny. Highly recommend it if you're a geek and you like that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I went, yeah, cool. I'm going to get into this, and this is great. And it said you can be a beta tester, which means you actually get the latest versions of this beta software.
Yeah.
You can provide feedback. And this is what I've been looking for, because the only thing I could find in the past was going to the support forums, and they're just painful. But in order to do that, I got to put this new beta +1. So it's like version 1
+1.
plus
like the update
and
one. Yeah.
I don't know, because I've just installed everything onto it, and it's kind of like, a bit
What, did you run
daunting,
it?
as you can imagine.
Did you run this beta?
No, I haven't. I stopped it because I need to back up my computer first, which is daunting for anybody.
Well, if you go to the show notes, there's and all know where we can find show notes at aussietechheads.com.au. There's some screenshots. So if you're too scared to install it, or you just can't be bothered, there's a couple of screenshots there. And look, giving it away for free. Look, suggestions are that there's big changes coming. Because, normally the beta tests don't get given away. If you're a developer, you can subscribe to them for $100 a year, to get all the pre-release sort of stuff and the betas and
which
all
is
that.
pretty. That's rather cheap, for any noob or geek, as in like just a little hobbyist. You could pay $100 a year and get all the latest stuff. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, well, Microsoft
come up with
stopped that.
Some good feedback. Who knows what might happen?
Yes, well, Microsoft used to do that and they stopped it, which has been very disappointing. But so if you want to see some screenshots, go there. But the thing is, why are they doing it for free? And the general consensus is that there's some big changes coming. Now, some like the last time Apple released a free beta version of its operating system was the original OS X, and only Apple loyalists who couldn't wait for the jump from OS 9 were the ones using the program. In the past, Apple has made beta versions of its operating systems available to developers. Yeah, I said that, blah, blah, blah. Making the beta free to Mac customers begs the question, why? Familiarity, big changes, et cetera, to get more feedback because of these big changes that are coming. So,
well, I think it's a good thing that they ask for feedback, because in the end, we are the ones that actually have to endure their operating system. And don't get me wrong, like OS X has always been reliable. It's always been good. But just little things where they've dusted over them, and you're hearing stories about, Johnny Ive?
Yeah, the designer
that took over the whole thing and got rid of Forstall or whatever his name was, the one that was the guy that had the green velvet look and the wood grain and all that stuff. He got moved on, and they brought in Johnny for the things. He's now taken over the Mavericks building team as well, or the design team.
Yeah.
And you just think to yourself that you're hearing a lot of people saying, there's infighting and such has resigned because now Johnny Ive's taking over this part, and he's sick to death of the old things. He wants new things. But you're thinking to yourself, okay, you're giving him all these, cool little features, but then things that should be dealt with where you use them every day. And there's POFs. If an operating system has POFs, and they're POFs that can be easily rectified so easily. And in actual fact, I went all the way around looking for a way to turn it on. I thought maybe it's actually it's in the system, but you need to activate it. It may default as off.
Yeah.
And nothing, no resizing whatsoever. It's just kind of obnoxious. But I do have a couple of other ideas as well, which I'm going to share if I do join the program. Like I said, bit daunting, but I'll give it a shot.
Well, couldn't you buy another SSD drive, slip it in, and just do it off that? It's not.
No,
it's not.
We're talking about an iMac.
Okay. Jace, did you have anything else you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, well, Australia, of course, is becoming the land of the scam. So this Commonwealth Bank is the one that's being targeted at the moment, and they say to just watch out for this one. Over the past few days, the ACCC has received reports of scam phone calls where people ask for the resident by their name, so they know what your name is when they call, and then they pretend to be a representative of the bank. getting information so that they can refund overcharge fees.
Oh,
Of course, we know the banks would love to give back all the money that they charge you.
Yeah.
And they obviously getting it, a bit upset that they've been charging people too much money on their fees. So somebody will ring up and they'll say, "Hey, is that Glenn Goodman?" And you'll say, "Yep." They say, "Okay, tomorrow there's a guy from the Department of Fair Trading is going to call you up, and he'll grab your details and he'll give you this big refund from your bank." And so you hang up. Next day, sure enough, ring, ring. "Hi, this is John from the Department of Fair Trading. What is your credit card number so that I can refund you some money?"
Yeah, what BS.
You're like, "Oh, ka-ching, here's my credit card number, expiry date. We'll just charge you a little fee to process the big refund," which sounds a lot like those Nigerian ones. Yeah, if you give us 20,000, we'll give you $1 million.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
same kind of thing. The Commonwealth Bank says we never do anything like that. We're not going to have an automated call. We're not going to call you up and say we'll ring back tomorrow and give you lots of money.
And why not just refund the fee back to the account? Why to a credit card? It might not even be a CBA credit card. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, they'll take your bank details as well and see if they can get the money out that way.
What amazes me is that they're introducing the signature. Is going.
Well,
no longer, not on introducing it, they're getting rid of it.
Yes.
So like everyone that's
reducing.
Like if you do we have what are they called, PIN numbers for our credit cards at this?
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Everything's going that way, and everything's going to be chip and pin. In fact, I was at my bank a couple of days ago with just a normal transaction card, and they said, "Well, this one's going to become chip and pin as well for the added security." And I love PayWave. Everywhere I go, if I can PayWave it, I'll do it. If it doesn't, it gets me annoyed because then I have to jam it in the bloody thing and type in numbers and stuff. It's just easier. I blip, off I go.
That's right.
I find that PayWave is, or whatever the different ones that are out there, but for me, it makes you PIN lazy because you're paying for everything with just a tap of the card, and you get into that habit of just going, "Yes, I can pay that," and then one day they turn around and go, "Oh, sorry, it's not working. You have to use your PIN," and you're like, "PIN? I'm not used to a PIN anymore."
I mentioned to Glenn before on the show that when I was supporting the CBA in Brisbane, there was a guy who got cranky and was going off at the staff because they painted the automatic teller out the front because it had got graffiti and stuff over it. So they got a nice paint over, and this guy comes in screaming at the staff, and they're like, "What's going on?" He said, "I never remember my PIN. I scratched it into the front of the teller there, so I'd remember it every time I come. Now I can't get my money out. I don't know what's going on."
Oh, that's crazy.
If they painted it, maybe you should have bought a little bit of paper and a lead pencil, and just scratched over it.
That's just
try to get it back again.
Yeah,
that's like convenience in its purest form. That is.
Yeah. Well,
I've been listening to Leo on his podcast, and he says that when he goes to Europe, and other people from his show go to Europe and they're like, "Okay, just put your card in and type in the PIN." They're like, "Oh no, we have to sign for everything. America doesn't have that technology yet." Okay, here you go.
Wow.
The oldie.
Yeah. Well, can you believe?
Clunk.
I was given a check today. Can you believe that? A check. Now I've got to go to the bank. It's crazy.
Yeah. They got a better one for that at the banks in the US. They actually have apps for like iPhone where you take a photo of the check and it goes straight into their processing center and gets approved through there.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's going full circle. Like before we had technology, people could get away with counterfeiting and just being dodgy as hell. But then they brought in all this technology to mess it up, and now it's coming back full circle. So like they're getting so lazy now. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. If you've never used Photoshop, that's great. But anyone that's used Photoshop, let's play with this check.
Yeah, well,
send it off.
You can do.
Yeah, that's right. What is it? Isn't that the mica? Isn't that supposed to be? How could they process it? They must just character recognize the little mica encoding because that's all supposed to be magnetic.
The bottom are going to be different and everything. So if they find out that there was never a check issued that's got that number on the bottom,
I just make up your own.
Sorry, so that one was cashed 4 times last week. I don't think you can cash it again this week.
No, that one's dead. We'll ban that one. But
in the future, you just be able to walk up to the thing, hold the phone up with a photograph of you. There's my check.
Yeah.
I'll just Bluetooth it to you. All right, sweet. Give me the car.
Since you cashed that check 4 times last week, we'll have a guy ring you tomorrow and he'll do a refund for you if you just give him your credit card number.
Yeah. Now, what amazes me is that what's it called? The Bitcoin, I think it's called.
Yeah.
everyone around me, not everyone, but like a few people around me are just praising it, saying, singing about it's how wonderful it is and it's great and it's tops.
How many have they got?
And all I could think of is that I remember when the Bitcoins were like $1 each, and now they're like $1,500 per Bitcoin. And you're thinking to yourself, how the hell do you pay for stuff? And then they're saying that they're bringing in Bitcoin ATMs. But have you just think, I don't know. It's like
coming to Australia. Bitcoin ATMs coming to Australia. They've announced.
Yeah, but I don't understand how the system works, because like one Bitcoin and then something might be a percentage of a Bitcoin. So you're not paying for the whole Bitcoin. And it just seems, I don't know, it just, because Glenn came up with this idea back in 97 and he called it eCash. Yeah. And it was something that was almost identical, but the problem was
it was ahead of its time.
Well, not just ahead of its time, the fact that I don't think you can ever be ahead of the hackers. And, and not just that, you're never ahead of the EMP from the sun. Because like if you had, here's a story, you ready for this? A friend of ours was using Bitcoin and the Silk Road, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. And he was purchasing pharmaceuticals legally, because at that point there was a spotlight on Silk Road, and he was using Bitcoin.
Wow.
And he had like a Bitcoin account, and this is no word of a lie. He had equivalent, I believe, of either 8,000 to 10,000 Bitcoins.
Wow,
and
that's
then
a lot.
When Silk Road got taken down, everyone's accounts were frozen.
Yeah.
So he had 8,000 to 10,000 Bitcoins in his Silk Road account. And when you looked at what it was worth now with $1,500 or whatever it was, what one Bitcoin was worth, it was worth, like, he had a tear in his eye when he worked it out.
I know, yeah.
But he said, they just froze the account. And that to me sounded like that was like entrapment for me. That was like, they gathered there was like a dragnet. They've just dragged everyone in, get on the Bitcoin, use that, wait, save, and then bang, pull the plug. That's like,
that's happened in a lot of places. They even had a Bitcoin exchange in Sydney where this kid was running, and then one day suddenly it was gone, and everyone reckons he just took everybody's Bitcoins out of their wallets that they'd uploaded to his server, chucked it in his own.
That's what the security.
He's like, I'm rich now. See you guys. I'm off to Hawaii.
There's no.
How many can you walk into a Harvey Norman and say, "I'll buy that jumbo TV with my Bitcoins"?
Yeah, well,
can you do that?
Well, in some places nowadays you can, but there's no Bitcoin ombudsman. So but look, just to finish,
it just sounds too
crazy.
Flaky.
Yeah, I'm not into it. But just quickly to finish off on the Commonwealth Bank, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia has rolled out mobile payment technology at 17 Australian schools in a program that it calls QKR, pronounced Quicker. Now, big Q, little K, big R. Developed by MasterCard, Quicker mobile payment technology has been placed at 8 schools in Victoria. The app lets parents use their iPhone or Android smartphone in order to order meals, contribute to fundraising, and pay for school items and like uniforms without having to give the children money. Now, I think this is a good idea, but I think you have to stop. I don't want it to see it replace cash at the tuck shop. I think that would be bad, because you got to.
I don't think that's where they're heading with it. I think it's more for parents.
Well, you never know. But the Quicker app was first rolled out in 2012 at La Premiere Hoyt Cinemas, enabling users to order food and drinks from their seats using your iPhone or using your smartphone.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go.
Well, there's one good thing about it, Big Jono is not going to bash you up for your lunch money if it's on the phone.
Well, he can't really do it.
Sorry, I can't give you it. It's on the phone. It only works at the tuck shop. It's not going to do you any good.
Just take your phone.
I have to say, ordering your meal at a cinema is brilliant. You don't have to get up. Yeah. You don't have to go and get your whatever your Cool Mints or whatever it is that you got to get.
Have you done it?
And you can get your phone and they bring it to you. How great is that?
Yeah, how good is that? Well, you still got to get out the other toilet.
Like being in gold class, they do that. You order all your stuff and they bring it straight to your seat.
Oh, that's
I don't watch gold class too much. Don't get in there too. Don't get in there too much.
Put it with that many people in your family. I'm just a bit worried about that sniper who's going to take off Mark's head any minute.
Where? Where's that?
Your microphone shining a red dot on your forehead just every time you get close to it. While you're talking, I see this red dot coming and going all the time.
Up and back.
Like somebody's going to take him out any second. He's going to be gone.
He's getting taken out. All right, so. Oh, geez, I don't know where we're up to now. I think we've gone over in that segment. Okay.
Oh, there's more. There was one story that. Can we finish up with this story?
Hang on. I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 segments.
Well, we got to do that RSL fundraising campaign. That's brilliant.
Yeah, so I'll do that at the end. So we'll do that at the end because I want to end the show just with a minute's silence and then do the credit. So I can edit that in, I think.
You see, you can ring up for that now. There's a phone number you can ring and listen to 1 minute silence.
Yeah, we've got this.
Somebody's making a lot of money there.
Well, it's a good idea. It's just a gimmick, isn't
All
it?
our operators now, 55 cents every 5 seconds.
All right, now let's go with...
Telstra just needs to take away their advertising on when you're on hold, and they can do it as well. You can get like plenty of minutes of silence.
Yeah, that's going to start. Shit doesn't work. Go. Microsoft, as we know, is in tight negotiations with Nokia, and apparently the negotiations are nearly finished. And apparently, the Nokia is going to be renamed Microsoft Mobile. That's it, Microsoft Mobile. Nokia.
That's so creative.
No, well, Nokia PowerUser.com reported that Microsoft intends to change the name of Nokia to Microsoft Mobile. The letter that the Nokia PowerUser.com obtained also states that Nokia does not plan to make any changes to its supplier base. Under the terms of the sale, Microsoft will assume all rights, benefits, and obligations of the Nokia devices and services business, including Nokia's agreements with suppliers, blah, 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 blah. So Microsoft General Counsel and Executive Vice President Brad Smith confirmed in a blog post that Microsoft has completed the steps necessary to finalise the Nokia acquisition very, very soon. But Microsoft...
Nokia shareholders must be nervous.
Oh, no. Well, it's all Microsoft, I think. You know, like, who's got the better brand, do you think, Nokia or Microsoft?
Nokia, yeah. I'd say they should stick with Nokia.
Yeah,
seriously.
Nokia.
People are happy with Nokia phones. They're like, not another Microsoft one. Is this like a Zune or something terrible?
Yeah, like Nokia is like the BMW of mobile phones when you look at it.
They've been around a while, haven't they?
They have. That's a travesty, changing it, especially changing it to Microsoft Mobile. Like what's
Nemo.
that? Well,
there's no. They could have. Oh, Nokia.
They could have a campaign with Electronic Fish and it'd be Finding Nemo.
They could have. I could have called it Nocrosoft.
Well, they could have called it anything.
Micro Kia. It's a small car.
Now, if you're not
Micro Kia.
Now, also
the lawsuits there.
Macworld enters the Apple resale market. I don't know if you guys saw this. Described as a marketplace. The site allowing Apple users to buy and sell hardware has been set up in conjunction with the Swedish company Resale. The site allows Apple users to sell hardware which is refurbished and sold via the Resale site. Repairs and refurbishment is done by the iExpert. Now, so this is just like, I think, Gazelle in the US, something pretty similar. You know, you got your old iPhone 4S in the cupboard. You might as well stick it in and see how much it's worth, and just pack it off and send it away. The site.
So, what's the cost? Do they take a chunk out of the selling price with regards to the refurbishment?
Although what they would more likely do is they give you an online quote of what they think it's worth based on what you've put in, good condition, bad condition, what model it is, and so forth. And that quote would be probably a price that if the phone is received by them in the condition that you stated, then you would get the money, and that price would be significantly or proportionately reduced to cover any expenses that they would have incurred to get that phone into a saleable product and also a nice little profit for them off it. Does that make sense?
Thanks for that, Glenn. That was an awesome explanation.
That's good. The site...
A bit like Mazuma Mobile in Australia. Does the same sort of thing.
Oh, there's already one around, is there?
Turn your old phone into cash. MazumaMobile.com.au.
The site promises... So this is only for Apple phones. So the site promises products will be shipped within 48 hours and tracked to your door. So this is when you buy one from them. As well as refunds if products are returned within 2 weeks. The site also states that warranties are offered on all products. The site also allows users to register to be alerted when Resale has stock of their preferred product. According to the site, sellers enter the serial number of the product, answer questions and the condition of the product, and are then given a quote. Sellers post their product to iExperts, receive payment once the product's been checked. as well as listing hardware for sale. The site includes reviews, blogs, news, features, tips, and guides from Macworld Australia. Good on you, Macworld. And resell have drop-off and pick-up services through iExperts in the Sydney CBD area, Bondi Junction, Westfield, Penrith, Westfield, and Melbourne CBD. There you go, Jace. There'll be one waiting for you down in Melbourne.
Thanks.
When you get there.
If I ever wanted to go back to Apple products again in my life, I'll think about it.
Well, you'd have a few to sell, wouldn't you?
Somebody over there hates it. Yes, no, I de-Appled myself. I went fully Apple about 2010-ish, and then over the last year, I've de-Appled just about everything. I still got my MacBook Pro because it's good for holidays and I can use it on holidays. But other than that, no Apple. So I've got the Apple TV that someone gave me.
What do you have?
Windows 7.
Oh, you serious? So did you actually install Windows 7 directly onto the MacBook?
Dual boot.
Okay,
but I don't boot into that other one.
Okay, well, aren't you just a delight?
I knew that would go down well.
You love it.
Magic. That's great. There's a Windows machine booting up behind me right now.
Oh, look at it. Love it. Now, Jace, did you have any more tonight? Or I've got a couple more. We can just back.
Well, there's some information about Nokia. Nokia. You got it stuck in my head now. Nike is laying off some of their workers that were doing the fuel ban that led to speculation that they're going to start doing the iWatch for Apple. But they said, no, we're going to continue to improve the Nike Plus fuel ban app, launch the new Meta Lux colors, and will sell and support the Nike Plus fuel ban SE for the foreseeable future. They still do think that people are going to the people that are left in the company are going to be working on an iWatch, or perhaps the people that are left are going to be moving over to Apple and doing some work on the iWatch there. So the iWatch rumor mill still keeping hot there. So we still wait and see what's going to happen. I still like my Pebble.
Because at the end of the day, the iWatch, I'm guessing, is going to work on a Wi-Fi network. As in, like, if you're in a Wi-Fi area, your iPhone, you'll be able to access things online, access stats, that type of thing. That being so close to your wrist at all times, surely that would cause some complications at some point.
Hopefully not as bad as what the Fitbit Flex did, where it started giving people all sorts of nasty rashes and they got taken to court for that one. But I don't know. They should use low Bluetooth 4.0, I think, is probably the best way to do it, same as all the others. It doesn't have that much power and it connects. My Pebble works fine that way.
And the other thing was, what was it? They had a, I can't remember. Oh, that's right. The glass. I'm sure you would have covered it in previous episodes, but where they were offering the Google Glass for $1,500 for one day. Yes. They were offering it, and you're thinking to yourself, so yeah, you're going to go out and buy the beta version of a product that's probably going to look more like Ray-Ban, I think, signed a deal with them, so they're going to be fitting the Google Glass and the Ray-Bans, which will be way classier. So they're essentially moving out all their old stock for $1,500. And the other thing with that is, if that works on Wi-Fi, that's right next to your temple.
Well,
can't be good for you.
Well, no, maybe not. Who knows?
I worked in retail for many years, and we had a customer who was a real estate agent who used a mobile phone, and he was getting a tumor or something from using it so often. So his doctor said, just put it on the other ear. So he started using it on that ear, and then he got the same thing in that ear. So now he's got it on both sides. No. So the brilliant doctor Googled it, and he said, we'll just get a hands-free thing and leave it in your pocket. And then it started doing his legs. So actually he ended up getting leukemia of the thigh bone because he had it in his pocket. And the thing was, as he said, that when it was in his pocket, he forgot about it. He didn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't so conscious of it. Like when he was holding it next to his head, he could actually kind of like get worried. Right. But yeah, so he ended up dying of leukemia from the phone being in his pocket.
I was going to ask if he was still with us.
No, he was. Yeah, we didn't sell any more TVs to him.
No.
Sadly. What a great way to end that section.
I know. That's just great.
There's an interesting pair of socks appearing and disappearing behind you there too.
All right.
Oh, that's some magic. That's Hollywood magic right there. This is actually Peter Jackson's socks. He wore them on the set of The Hobbit.
This is our last 10 minutes. I'm all out of kilter, but another 10 should see it right. Okay, let's come back here. How's the guy that used to own the Retrovision? What do you used to call him? The university.
The not the dean. Was it the dean? Do we call him the dean or the?
Was he
Chancellor? No, not chancellor.
Yeah,
Something similar.
It was the chancellor, I think.
Was it the chancellor?
I think
That's
so.
very German. You can tell what party we're trying to create here. Yeah, he was the grand chancellor of the University of Noobs and of geeks, and he's still doing, I think, wedding videos and that type of stuff.
Yeah, right.
Video editing.
Has he still got his VIC-20s and stuff all unopened?
I'm sure he does, but whether they work or not, I think they may have received some moisture damage in the floods. So yeah, I think they're probably more just things you put in a glass cabinet and go, "Ooh, look at that."
All right, let's come back and go. I think I've only got one more story. Jace, did you have anything else?
Not really, no.
All right, Mark. Well, you can always talk about anything, so you'll be right. So let's come back with my last story, and then at the end we'll do this minute, and then we'll be good. I don't know. I've sort of in two minds about doing too much about it because it's tomorrow, so a lot of people probably won't even listen to the show before Saturday. But anyway, that's just how it goes, isn't it?
It's called respect.
We're here tonight, so we're going to do it.
Exactly. We're doing this live for the people, for Milo in the lounge. The minute silence is for you, mate.
Well, Milo had to go because his internet shit itself.
All right. Well, then
Are we that bad tonight? Jeez, give us a break.
We're just doing the minute silent as a show of respect for the diggers.
All right. Let's come back with. Well, that's right. Yes, you can watch us live, record the show if you so desire. And you can do that. You can do that by going to aussietechheads.com.au, follow the prompts, or just for aussietechheads.com.au/live. All the instructions are there and tells you when we're on and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, good on you. All right, now, Google Maps, step back in time. There's a song title in there somewhere. Google Maps takes you back in time with Street View improvement. Now, this is being rolled out around the world at the moment. It hasn't come to my street, but I wouldn't imagine too much has changed in my street. Google has began letting people turn back the clock on Street View images to show how places have changed over the 7 years it's been collecting pictures for its free online mapping services. Now, I liked how some of the articles started here. They go, they're rolling back time. Google's delving into history. Back to 2007. Yeah, images from Street View.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I suppose highlights would be Fukushima.
Is that?
We'd have the before and after shots of that.
Yes, so images from Street View archives dating back to 2007 can be explored at Google Maps on desktop computers in what is Google's depicting as the digital time capsule of the world. Now, if you're a child today, 50 years from now, you'll be able to walk through the memories of your old neighbourhood. Google.
Delightful.
Yeah, they call it the cool new feature. Now, the feature is gradually being rolled out, as I said. Users will know if the feature is available if they see a clock icon in the upper left-hand portion of a Street View image. They can click.
And can I just jump in here for a second? Because if you remember, there was a landslide in America, in Washington or in one of those, Idaho, I think it happened.
Yep.
And in a video that I watched where the guy was explaining how it happened and why it happened, it was all to do with deforestation. But in the actual video, he mentioned this. He said that you can actually step back in time to show you how the erosion has taken over and where the deforestation's happened up in the hill and why it slid down and killed all those people. But he had the same thing. There was a clock. But when I went onto the website from Australia, there was no clock. No clock.
Well, it's being rolled out.
Which really annoyed me because I couldn't really see before and after shots, which just didn't really.
It's being rolled out. Give it a chance. Maybe tomorrow when you open your pretty little eyes, it might be there. Or wait another night. Have another night of beauty sleep and it might be there the next day. But give it a chance. It's getting rolled.
Yeah, it is a public holiday tomorrow, so it won't be happening then.
Yeah, so you can click on the slider. So it's like a before and after, split down the middle, and you can move the slider either way.
It's very impressive.
Yes, and so I'm sure there's a lot of if you want to have a look at some of the ones out there at the moment, well, I'm sure you can just Google it before we get access to the clock icon. But just Google them. There's plenty of news stories around with the images. If you're watching us on the video, there's one there. So it looks like an old building. It's been renovated. or either a new
All right.
building
So the
or it's been.
left-hand side is the before shot.
Yep.
Because like if you were to go to some places like, for example, where Katrina hit, the before shot would be the one on the right.
Yes.
And the new shot would be the one on the left.
Yes.
The one with the car in the tree.
Yes. Yeah. So that place has changed quite a bit, hasn't it?
It is magical.
It is.
Magical. And that's Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Which is good to see they've made an effort.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Well, I think that's all the stories that I have. Mark.
Oh, well, can I
Yes.
share one thing before we go
Please.
into that important story that's going to trail off the end of this episode? And that is upgraded the memory in the iMac, and must say very easy process. Was not painful. Probably the least painful iMac upgrade available that I've seen.
Well, memory
time that I've been using iMacs.
Yeah, well, I think memory generally is pretty. Well, I'd say it was pretty easy. I suppose that in the Macs, I know it's just like opening up a laptop. The memory's just there, isn't it? And you just have to.
Yeah, but in the old days, you used to have to unscrew panels, and they'd be tucked up underneath, and it'd be really hard to access. Whereas now, you just buy it a drink, and you press a little button, and it pops a little flap.
Some could
and
say,
then you just pull out the two sticks, and there's 4 slots, and it starts very sexual.
A
and then you
flap
just clip
opener.
it back up again, pop the flap back up, and you're good to go.
Oh, you love popping those flaps open. I know that. And everyone else, you can do the same thing. You just get your screwdriver out and give it a bit of a
Make
twist.
sure you don't get any viruses.
No, give it a twist and away you go. So that's easy. Easy done. Now, Mark, what else has been going on in your life? You're working hard up there at Waxy still, is that right? Up there in Surface?
Yes. Still atmosphere enhancer at Waxy's Pub, which is delightful. It's moving into other things. Like I don't just play music. I do all their marketing and media, and I create videos. I pull all the latest YouTube highlight videos, like extreme videos and stuff, and I put them all together. And I'm a bit of a producer. I am. It's exciting.
Nice.
And I've got lots of viewers, and they're very entertained by the videos that I make from, which is great.
Yeah, that's good.
It turns out that the big screen on the dance floor actually has a USB input,
right?
And that plays back DivX. So I've got like 5 hours of videos put all together with advertising and stuff, and play it. Perfect.
Yeah, right. So
Love it when technology works.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? So you're not sort of just DJing every night, all that sort of stuff. How do you keep up with all the music? Like, how do you keep up? Do you listen to top 40s all the time, or how do you keep up with it?
A funny story to come from this, but as a DJ, I do have an internet connection, which is my 4G network, so you can't go to town on that. But people will request songs, and I'll buy them off iTunes. So, when they had that ping service on iTunes, which lasted maybe 4 months, and then it was pulled.
Yeah.
It was a bit bad because my profile showed that I was a fan of things like Kesha and Black Eyed Peas and all these kind of like top 40 artists, because I was buying the singles, but it wasn't reflecting my true musical love. Like there was no Elvis, there was no Beatles, there was none of that stuff. It was just all this latest crap. So I can understand why Ping disappeared.
So I was just going to ask you then, so you've been pretty heavily into the music for some time, since probably all your life, pretty much, as long as I've known you anyway. So what is your favorite era? Like the 60s. So you mentioned the Beatles and the King. So the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, the noughties. I hate that terminology. Or this decade. Where do you think you fit? If you wanted,
that's such a hard question. A good question, but a hard one nonetheless. I'd have to say that when you look at the music from the 60s and 70s, 80s, it started to get. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of classy stuff from the 80s as well, but when you started to hit the boy bands and Spice Girls, and then the Britain's Got Talent and The Voice and all this kind of thing, I don't know. It's kind of it's a bit weird now. And I've always been a song person. I've never really been a band person because I think the songs are more important. But I don't know. Probably the 60s and 70s for sure. Because that's when you had things like the Eagles, and you had the Beatles, and you had the King, and you had Johnny Cash. Magic.
Yeah. Well, that was good, but I know, and more I find myself singing along to 80s myself. That's what's on the radio these days.
That's a disease we like to call. There's a Mardi Gras for that if you're actually into it.
All right.
But I was going to say, don't get me wrong though, because there was a lot of good Kiwi music. That's an underestimated music. That one is the Kiwi music. When you're looking at bands like House of Shem, Tomorrow People, 660. There's a lot of good music. Crowded House, obviously, Dragon. So many Kiwi bands. Jenny Morris. When you look at a lot of the great Australian music, New Zealand has played a large role in making that happen.
Didn't Russell Crowe have a band?
We won't mention that though.
He was a New Zealander, wasn't he?
God bless him. He was a great gladiator.
Yeah.
But music-wise, 10 foot of
68 foot of grunt or something.
Yeah, it was a special name. It was kind of like Craig McLaughlin in Check 1 2.
Oh, Mona!
Back in the day. But it's interesting. It is interesting, and music is. It's an amazing thing. It's very powerful.
Now, Jace.
And that's the other thing too. I've been doing some recordings with a young gentleman by the name of Ben Wehi Pehana, and it's a tough one because it's a surname from hell. But if you do a search for Ben Wehipehana. Now, I'm not going to repeat it. Just
you need to show guidance there, Mark, and get him to just shorten that or come up with something else. Ben.
No, we're moving with something. BTW is his call sign because that's his initials, and it's also an anagram, or not an anagram. It's an abbreviation of by the way.
Oh yeah, by the way,
BTW.
Have a listen.
Give that a shot too. Try BTW. You probably won't get what I'm talking about. Won't come up, won't be the first hit. But anyway, give it a shot.
He'll be there somewhere. Now, Jace, what sort of music are you into? We might as well go over to you and find out what you'd like.
Electronica and retro 80s.
Nice. So you.
What was the first one? Electronica.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, right. So is there much radio play for that stuff? There's stations in Sydney that do that sort of stuff?
No, there's internet radio stations that do that sort of stuff. On my Spotify list.
Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah, because you surprised me the other week when you mentioned that you don't really watch TV at all.
No, I just packed my television away in the next room now because I use it so little. So
yeah, fair dinkum. That's
amazing. A good thing. Well done.
Yeah, I think there is too much TV being watched. Like, there's too much in this household. I know.
We don't have an antenna on our roof or cable, so
doesn't mean I didn't just watch the whole series 1 of Broadchurch the other day, but
not on a TV.
It wasn't on a TV.
That was a good series. That was a good series.
Broadchurch. It's a detective show. Broadchurch. The detective show from the UK with David Tennant from Doctor Who, and it's written by one of Doctor Who's writers, Chris Chibnall.
What's it about?
It's a murder mystery.
It's about a boy who gets murdered in an old seaside beach town, and they have to find out who did it and why.
Broadchurch.
I saw Tennant's thing about the World War II spies. That was a bit.
I haven't seen that. Yeah, but did you get the name of it, Mark? Broadchurch.
Yes,
Broad.
Check that out. Can't understand Hollywood. Like for example, with iTunes music, that's part of Hollywood. You can buy certain things, but then other things you just can't buy. And if they were available, I'd buy them. And one of those things is The Panel. If you can remember The Panel from TV with Rob Sitch, Tom Gleisner and all the team, and Mick Malloy. They used to have these really cool acoustic performances by big name bands and artists from around Australia and the world. And they were fantastic. And they're not available on iTunes. So I had to go to eBay, and I managed to find the 2 CDs that I'm missing, so I can now complete the series of The Panel, which is fantastic. But I was on YouTube recently, and there was a David Spade stand-up routine, which was rather funny. And then it came up with, at the end of videos where they give you other videos that you can watch and you can click. And it had there was the one that he was doing, and then there was another one from the same show, so another segment. So I went to click that, and it took me to Comedy Central's website, but it said, this video will not play in your country. And I'm like, sweet. Why don't you just put a pirate patch and a fucking skull and crossbones there and say, pirate the shit out of this, because we're not going to give it to you for free like the rest of the world. It's just stupid.
No.
You know what I mean? There shouldn't be any jurisdictions, especially within New World Order countries. Like we've signed up to the New World Order. Yeah. I think we should have all the New World Order videos. Exactly. You know what I mean? It just promotes piracy. It's stupid.
Now, depending on when you have listened to us this week, the important occasion this week, through the week, is Anzac Day, April 25th. Now, whether you are getting up early to go to the marches, or if you got up early and went to the marches, I think it's important that we all take just a moment out and just remember the guys that have sacrificed so much for us to be here today and to enable us to sit here without problem worrying about what's at the front door, and to deliver a nice little podcast that you can listen to and everyone feels safe in the immediate surroundings, and especially Australia. We are very, very lucky. So hopefully you can take some time out and appreciate what people have sacrificed for us. And to end on that note, there is a web page called, now I'll get this up here, and it's called
minuteofsilence.com.au.
That's right. Now you can
I was just thinking that.
You can go to the minuteofsilence.com.au. What this is all about is it's raising money for the Anzacs, for the people that are left, and for the recent ones that have gone into recent wars overseas and all that sort of stuff, that maybe they're falling on hard times, etc., etc. There's always a need. So anyway, instead of selling the pins, or whatever, you might not be in a place of work where the pins are coming around or whatever, like the old days. You can now phone up.
Can I jump in?
Please.
I have to say this. In an Australian first, an Anzac Day campaign allows Australians to pay to listen to a pre-recorded minute of silence.
That's right. That sounds crazy. But what it is...
I think that beats the record holder, which was in New Zealand. A song went number 1, and it was audio that could only be heard by a dog.
Right. Nice. That would have been... be quite nice and quiet as well.
And it was number 1. Can you believe that? It was the number 1 single, and it was just complete silence. But if you played it to your dog, it would start dancing.
RSL organisations all around the nation have banded together to create the Minute of Silence, a pre-recorded minute of actual silence, which can be purchased and listened to over the phone, all profits going to the Anzac Appeal. The silence was recorded by more than 80 currently serving and former Australian Defence Force members and their families, including veterans from conflicts as recent as Afghanistan, Iran, and as long ago as World War II, Korea and Vietnam. A campaign of this nature has never been attempted before in Australia. And so what the silence is these 80 people that have recorded it. You can go onto the minuteofsilence.com.au. That comes up with squares on the screen, and of different people, different old diggers in the squares, and you can listen to their minute of silence. So you might just hover over the first guy, and he's just sitting on his bed, say, and he's just minute of silence, but you can hear the traffic in the background. You hear the background world buzzing around him. You go to the next person, you hear maybe a train go past. Everyone's got their own minute of silence, and you can support the Anzacs by ringing up and purchasing a minute of silence. So
if that was a legit, I'm sorry, but just when you said that, it was like they should make it a certain time on the date. So if you're on the road, you slow down and stop. So there's no trains going past. That's a minute silence. A train going past, honestly. But they should have it so that it's a minute silence across the country.
Well, that
should be a federal thing. At 10:30 in the morning or whatever it is, everybody shut the hell up.
Well, they try and do that
asleep, well, that's a bonus.
Well, they try and do that on Armistice Day, don't they? 11 a.m.
Oh, they try to do a lot of things.
But all right.
And the best way to do it, this is how you do it. You say, if you can be quiet for a minute at midday on Anzac Day across Australia, you'll get a free beer at the end of it. Everyone would do it, even the kids. It'd be like, yes.
Sold.
You've got to give them an incentive to shut up, seriously, especially me.
All right, so I'm going to skip that. No, hang on. How do I push this to silent? I can't.
We have to record this minute silence actually in front of our computers.
I want to. Yes, hang on. I'm going to have to load that up because it doesn't want to. It doesn't want to go mute. But all right. So anyway, Jace, thanks for coming in. Welcome back.
Worries.
Welcome back to.
Glad to be back in the seat again. Hot seat.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I know you had some internet problems tonight and USB PC problems. So hopefully you've taken over from Will this week. We'll just call you Will. So
yeah,
so,
yes. Android. Microsoft suck. Apple.
Now, how's the Obsidian loft going strong?
Yeah, it's still going well. It's a bit quiet for the last couple of weeks as I was away. Now Will's away on holiday as well. And then today I went through and cleaned out a whole lot of stuff off my D drive. And then I went to try Minecraft tonight. It was gone too because I accidentally deleted that folder. Took me about half an hour to get everything set up again.
No, good.
But it's working again now, so fingers crossed it'll keep going.
That's good.
And the podcast should be back, I guess, next Monday.
Next week. All right. Well done. All right. Well, we'll see you next week. And Mark, it's great to have you back for one-off episode because you're not working tonight. So that's today.
Won't
so
happen
great.
again.
No. And yes.
This is yeah.
Yes.
Not quantity, quality.
Yeah, that's right. But it was great to have you back. Great to hear your voice again. And I'm sure everyone's pleased to be able to catch up with you and see what you're up to today.
And if you miss me, you can check out The Den on iTunes, and there's a Facebook page which is facebook.com/The Den HQ. It's also on Twitter as well, just The Den HQ with some number or underscore or something. But you can hear it, and that's given me more reason to go out and actually make an effort and do it.
All right, good stuff. Now here's our minute of silence if we can get it to work. Actually. Well, this will be a big thing because I never practiced this before the show because we'll have to skip the intro and we'll see if we can. Nothing in that blah menu, homepage, minute of about nothing. Let me see. Watch the film. Can we watch the film? Nothing's being out of the silence.
Does it go for a minute?
Here we go. Let's have a look. Here we go. Okay, so here's our minute of silence as we remember the Anzacs.
My minute's silence is for Johnny Tinkham from my school and Bluey Tregear, who was in our mob. Bluey was hit in the head with shrapnel during a night attack, and no one even knew he'd been killed until the morning. I think of those two, and I think of all the other men like them that I never knew. I often reflect on the fact that I came home unhurt, and my two brothers came home unhurt. And it never escapes me how lucky we were. I think the survivors always have a duty to the injured. We were lucky that the three of us all came home. It all comes down in the end to luck.